Okay, this is KP4MD. We're now streaming on YouTube.
Good evening, this is James. Kilo November 6, Quebec November Juliet, your net control operator for the River City ARC Slow Scan TV net. This net serves for training and practice in image transmission modes and meets Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. on the N6NA repeater on 441.30 megahertz. River City ARC's members and all licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. If you wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time, please announce your call sign between transmissions and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact the net control by saying, "break, break." A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency. Stations who wish to break in are asked to respond with their full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet and their name. I will recognize each station before continuing. Any station who wishes to check into the net, please come now.
November 6, Papa Golf, Quebec, Bob in Roseville.
Alpha India 6, Delta Golf in Florence. Good evening.
Kilo Papa 4, Mike Delta, Carol, and Citrus Heights.
Copied N6PGQ Bob, AI6DG Joel, and KP4MD Carol. Are there any other stations who wish to check into the net? This is James, Kilo November 6, Quebec November Juliet, and we will start this evening with Bob, then move to Joel, Carol, and then me, and we'll check to see if others join us later on. So Bob, N6PGQ, are you ready?
Well, I hope so. This time I decided I'd send you folks a picture of world-famous amateur radio personality, and it's not Gordon West or Bob Pyle or even the inventor of the firearm silencer, Hiram Maxim. So here we go. This should be PD-120.
N6PGQ, well, that came through very well. I'll ask Joel to comment on it. AI6DG, what do you see?
Okay, let's go over and take a look. So, this looks like this is probably field day. We've got, oh yeah, this is field day. I think I recognize this, the spot being the covered area that I've heard and seen pictures of that River City Arc says they're field day yet. I haven't actually been there. So we've got a couple of folding chairs on the left with a guy sitting in one of them in front of a table full of equipment. We've got a laptop with a USB cable coming out the side of it. We've got a Go box with the lid opened up as a nice cover for the box. Yeah, that's a neat idea. And equipment, a couple of radios in it, and maybe I don't know if it's a cable panel or power panel, but it's kind of a panel below the radios that's coming out of it. He's holding a microphone going to somewhere in the box. Got a couple more tables and chairs, and another laptop on a table in the background. Off to the upper right, we've got some solar panels, picnic tables in the background outside. Don't recognize the software on the laptop on the table, but that doesn't mean too much. I'm not sure what software River City Arcs was using. And I'm sure everyone's having fun, and that's what field day is about. So back to net, AI6DG.
Thanks, Joel. Good description, as always. Carol, KP4MD.
Yeah, this is KP4MD. I got a good picture. That's definitely from the River City Arcs field day site. And you see the laptop computer in the foreground with the N3FJP logging program for field day. And a nice Go box with a HF, looks like an HF radio in there. And I don't know, it looks like a patch panel underneath the radio. So I think I remember seeing that. If I'm not mistaken, Bob N6PGQ had shown this as part of his Go box, and I believe that person in the foreground, wouldn't that be Neil, KL7HQR? Up in the background there, behind the Go box, you see a solar panel. And can't really tell too much else of what's going on. So back to Nets, KP4MD.
Thank you, Carol. KP4MD. This is James, Kilo, November 6, Quebec, November, Juliet. Before we move on, I just want to say welcome to Craig, WP2N, Whiskey Papa 2 November, who's on our YouTube channel from Louisiana. Welcome, Craig. I don't have much more to add. I was there. I recognize it. I think it was a great experience for me because it was the first field day I'd been to. Bob, can you tell us more about this picture, N6PGQ?
Okay, well, I showed a picture of the front of the Go box a couple of weeks ago on the SlowScan Net, and so that's my Go box. There's a all band Yaesu FT100D on the left, and Kenwood 2-meter 440 radio on the right. All the connectors for tuners and signal link modems and things like that are in, as Carol called it, the patch panel underneath it. Microphones plug in there, so everything is pretty self-contained. I didn't get to operate too much. I got heat exhaustion there and ended up in the hospital. So anyway, I'm kind of on the mend. So that was the station that we had, and no one should be there after about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. In the right-hand section, let me drop this, is a metal tripod I built at the metal shop at high school, and basically it's a ground plane antenna for a 2-meter 440 mobile whip, and we were going to use that to send messages to the section manager and all that kind of stuff, so it kind of went on the wayside as I went off and got liquids dripped into me. On the left middle, right above the microphone, is a PC we were going to use to do some digital contacts, but that didn't happen. The computer on the right is the logging program computer for the entire field day site, and apparently it got so hot it quit, so it was a warm spot in the afternoon. N6PGQ.
Well, Bob, N6PGQ, first of all, we're all glad that you're okay. Second of all, I learned so much from you on field day, the time we had to talk. I really wanted to thank you for that. And thirdly, I am very impressed with how well balanced your Go box is. It looks like the lid is a counterbalance to keep the whole thing from falling off the table. Did you give that some thought?
Yeah, I did, and it's got a little bail in the front to raise it up, and it isn't quite high enough, so it has the standard piece of 2x4 under there. And after many, many, many years of use, the springs on the hinge have kind of died, so you can see there's a couple of small bungee cords that are keeping the lid open instead of having it fall down on your face. Yeah, inside the lid is a little strip of LED lights so that you can see what you're doing, and it's off most of the time because at nighttime it kind of kills your night vision. But yeah, it's a pretty nice little Go box. I'd build it a little bit differently if I were building it again, as everybody else would do after some use. N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. Well, that sounds like a good club project one long weekend. Okay, any other comments for Bob before we move on to Joel? Okay, Joel, AI6DG, are you ready to share a photo?
Hey, let's make sure I have tone first. There should be a tone fall.
Yeah, copy tone.
PD 120.
A6DG. I got good copy. Looks like another field day picture, possibly. Carol, KP4MD, do you want to comment?
Yes, okay, this is KP4MD. I'm guessing since Joel was at the Davis Ranch in Slough House that this was there. And what I'm seeing there is a gentleman sitting behind a table with a bunch of, looks like magazines, sitting in front of a laptop computer. Looks like a hand sanitizer on the left of the table, possibly maybe a thermos, and looks like a cup maybe with something. And on the right of the picture looks like you have a magazine rack or literature display. And in the back I see 3 canopies. I see the closest one is white cover. The one on the left a little further away is also a white cover. And then behind the one on the right there's one with a blue top. And that seems to have also a tarp hanging from it, either a tarp or some kind of a banner, which you can't read. So I'm guessing that this is the K6IS North Hills Field Day over there at Davis Ranch. Back to Nets, KP4MD.
Thanks, Carol, KP4MD. This is James, Kilo November 6, Quebec, November Juliet. We'll also say hi to Alf, who's watching us on our YouTube streaming channel. Alf is Kilo November 6, Papa Romeo Delta. Hello, Alf. Bob, N6PGQ, comments about this picture?
Well, I think Carol aced it pretty well. You can see a group of vehicles parked in the back, and that may be the Davis Ranch vegetable and corn selling area, if I can remember right. I like the setup. The stations are separated enough that hopefully the antennas are separated so they aren't interfering with each other. Has a nice display of magazines and a rack of information sheets on the right. And as Carol described, the 3 different pop-up tents and the one in the front, N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. I'm interested to know what literature there is that's being shared on the table. So I don't have much more to add other than a question, Joel, about what is being shared there. Go ahead, AI6DG.
So yes, this is Davis Ranch Field Day a couple of weekends ago, and glad you survived the heat of the weekend. I'm a bit surprised to hear you say that. Just how hot was it up at the VFW? Was there a breeze there? Because while it was pretty warm, there was a nice breeze down at Davis Ranch, which I ask in part because I suspect that the breeze down there is that place has a nice breeze. This is something about the geography of where it is that a lot of other places wouldn't get. So this is Donald Tribble, a KD6MDV, who was nice enough to, his wife had a medical issue that he had to leave Friday night for. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think I was the only one that was staying there. And I just slept in the open, no tent, on the cot, in a sleeping bag. It was quite nice. It's surprising how hot it can be during the day and how cold it can get at night.
Plus the coyotes. You're brave, Joel. I'm impressed. Any other comments for Joel about this photo? And then we'll move to Carol.
There's a question from Alf. Did anyone get a picture of Alf from Field Day?
Possibly. I'd have to go through. I don't have any pictures yet. I put a call out to ask for people to send me their pictures. So this actually came off of the Facebook page. So I'm kind of someone took it and sent it to Paul for him to put it on the Facebook page. AI6DG.
We'll keep a lookout, Alf, KN6PRD. This is James, KN6QNJ. Carol, are you ready to transmit a photo?
Roger, this will be PD 120.
KP4MD, the picture came through. I stumbled across this when I was working a little bit of HF over the past weekend, but I had never heard of this, and I'm interested to learn more about it. Bob, N6PGQ, are you ready to comment on this photo?
Oh, absolutely. I heard about this after it was over, unfortunately, and of course I wasn't in the world of the living last weekend. But anyway, this is the certificate that you would get for the special investigation that was the 13 Colonies one. And this, apparently the theme for this one, as it says, is the land battles of the Revolution. And you can always tell who makes the etchings, paintings, lithographs, and things like that. The victors usually are the ones that write the history. And so you can tell that the general leading the charge is on the right side from the colonies is energetic, and he has his sword held out in front of him, and the soldiers with their fixed bayonets are charging after the British. The Union Jack is kind of folded up, and it almost looks like the British lines are collapsing. So I think it's a great certificate. I wish I'd worked the station. We'll see what they do next year, and hopefully my rememberer will work. N6PGQ.
Thanks, Bob. Joel, AI6DG, comment?
I can't help but think that a historian would be rolling in their grave, rolling their eyes, or rolling a whole bunch of things, whatever they could move, if they actually analyzed this painting. But yeah, I heard that there was a special 13 Colonies event running last weekend. I don't know what the rules were or what it all was. I'm assuming the objective is to get a contact in each of the 13 states, but I'm noticed there was a bunch of special event stations. So is that, what are the rules? What do the special event stations have to do with it? How does the theme Land Battles of the Revolution fit into the event? And how do you get the certificate? What do you have to do? So otherwise, pretty good copy. A little bit of noise, but maybe I just noticed it because of the background making it more noticeable. There's some lines kind of in the middle, but I know it wasn't the repeater IDing, so I'm assuming there was just some really bad sequential noise going on for a while there. Back to net VI6CG.
Thanks, Joel. This is James, KN6QNJ. I have a good copy of the photo coming through with black pixel pops around just because the black pops on the blue sky show up. One of the things that I find interesting about this artwork is that it looks like the French national flag is in the upper left corner, and of course there was some involvement, but I don't think the French are pictured in the picture in any way. I'd be interested, maybe Carol, you know about that, KP4MD. Go ahead and tell us about this, and maybe if you know the answers to some of Joel's questions, that would be interesting.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. I learned about the 13 Colonies special event. It's still actually ongoing. It goes from the 1st of July through the end of the 7th of July. So tomorrow you'll have an opportunity to do a clean sweep of all 13 special stations. They're all the original 13 colonies from New Hampshire all the way down towards Georgia. And they're alphabetical, K2A, K2B, K2C, all the way to K2M. There's 13 of them. The number 2 has nothing to do with the call district because, of course, they're all scattered between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th call districts. And on top of those 13 stations in each of the colonies, there is another station in Pennsylvania, which is William Penn Station. It's WM3PEN. I've worked that one. And then there's one in England. It's GB13COL. And you get extra points for working those special stations. And this year they had one in France, Tango Mike 13, Charlie Oscar Lima. France, of course, probably won the war for us by boxing up Cornwallis there at Yorktown. Without that French fleet there, who knows what have happened with the war. Anyhow, you don't. All I know is that you have to try to work a certain number of these stations and participate. Send in a log and $5, and you can get a certificate. If you work all of them, I guess you get a clean sweep. So it's an extra bonus there on your certificate. I've never actually submitted for this, but I'm going to tell you one thing. When you're on the East Coast, it's a lot easier to work them than from the West Coast here. So back to nets, KP4MD.
Thanks, Carol. I tried to bring in, but the pile-ups were crazy, and my little 100 watt 991 and my NFED antenna were just not going to make it through the pile-ups. Craig, who's been watching on YouTube, made a comment that special events are always nice when the certificate arrives. He has one from a World War II special event from 2017. Thanks, Craig. Craig's call sign again is WP2N. Any other questions or comments before I send a photo?
N6PGQ.
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, just looked through the book, and I worked this special event in 2020, and was not able to work the Great Britain station, which at the time was GB13COL. But I did get all 13 of the colonies, and so I got a clean sweep that year. And I just forgot about it, or wasn't aware of it, and I would have tried it this year, N6PGQ.
Well, now we all know about it, and we should try to remind each other next year. Any other questions or comments for Carol? Okay, I'm going to transmit a picture PD 120. Stand by. Okay, well, Bob, N6PGQ, comments about this photo.
Boy, I hate going first. Well, it looks like someone is doing a production line of some type of food. And the first thing I thought was that they were, like a piece of chicken, like a half chicken that somebody is making. And then they kind of looked more like pastry to me, and you can tell my brain doesn't work very well. Almost looks like somebody's rolling up something like stuffed dough or something like a pasty or something like that, and then going to put them in the oven. N6PGQ.
Copy that. Joel, AI6DG.
Well, my first thought as the picture revealed itself going down was, oh, it's someone's workbench, especially when I noticed the power outlet on the upper right. And it kind of looks nice and clean and like someone's nice bench until you start seeing these piles of something. And yeah, I thought they were chicken too, but then I realized they just weren't uniform enough. And you've got kind of flour strewn about, white stuff. So I'm thinking, yeah, like pastry, but I'm thinking bread. Are these chunks of bread dough that they're going to throw into a bunch of bread trays that we just haven't seen yet? You can kind of see the hand in the upper left that might be holding like a knife or something used to separate chunks of dough off. The fuzzy out of focus. You can't really tell what's going on in the background, but interesting how ununiform the globs of whatever it is, I'm assuming bread dough, are. So look forward to hearing more, and now I'm hungry. Let's go. I think I got to go cook dinner now. Back to net, AI6DG.
AI6DG, thanks. Carol, KP4MD.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. Alf just posted, I used to make bread in college. Good times. And I'm guessing it's something like that. It looks to me like rolls of bread dough on a surface that has some flour spread on it so it doesn't stick. And I'm going to guess that this may be from Solomon's Deli, since since James has connections there, that might be from the kitchen of Solomon's Deli, and there must be preparing some bread there. That's what I'm guessing. So back to net. This is KP for MT.
Well, that's a pretty good guess, all of you. This is the beginning of the process for making bagels. This is the proofing process. The pastry cutter, well, the baker in there is weighing the dough and then getting it ready for proofing for bagels. They get proofed for, I think, about 24 hours, and then they get boiled and baked. And so this is a photo I took at the restaurant my wife is involved in. And if you are hungry, I certainly recommend a bagel. It's very satisfying. Any other questions? Okay, any other comments or questions before we close the net tonight? All right, well then I'll close the net. Thanks to all who participated in tonight's SlowScan TV Net. We hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. The net is officially closed at 9:40 p.m. This is James, Kilo November 6, Quebec November Juliet, wishing all of you a really good evening.